So what is going on with crypto? Today, we're diving right into that, and we're zeroing in on 2026 because, it is really shaping up to be a massive crossroads for the entire industry. We're getting all these mixed signals from Washington, from the wallets of billionaires, and from the market itself. So let's break it all down. All right, so here's the billion-dollar question, right? Boom or bust? Is 2026 going to be the year crypto finally goes mainstream, with clear rules and prices just taking off? Or are we looking at another long year of confusion and falling charts? To figure that out, we've got to look at the three big battlegrounds where this is all playing out as we speak. Okay, first up, politics. The crypto world has done a complete 180 here. I mean, for years, its whole vibe was being this anti-establishment, outside the system thing. But now, they've figured out that to really survive and to thrive, you can't just be on the sidelines anymore. You need a seat at the table in Washington. And believe me, they are spending a whole lot of money to make sure their voice is heard. And when I say a whole lot, I mean a lot. Back in the 2024 elections, crypto companies and their political action committees, PACs, they just poured huge sums of money into backing candidates who were friendly to the cause. But honestly, that was just the appetizer. They're already organizing, already fundraising for the really crucial 2026 midterms. It's a huge bet that big money can buy them some much-needed certainty from the lawmakers.
And you know what? So far, it kind of looks like that bet is paying off. They got pro-crypto candidates elected who are now sitting in Congress. You got these powerful industry groups like Fairshake and Stand with Crypto getting voters fired up for 2026. And maybe most importantly, we saw actual laws like the Genius Act for stablecoin payments get signed. I mean, that's a massive jump from just being an idea to being the law of the land.
But, and this is a really important but, having influence is not the same thing as having control. The industry's goal is crystal clear. Get some friendly laws on the books by the 2026 midterms. The political reality, though, well, it's messy. It's unpredictable. All the money in the world doesn't guarantee you'll get exactly what you want. And that lingering uncertainty has some very, very real consequences for the people at the top of the crypto food chain. And that brings us from the sort of abstract world of Washington, D.C. politics to the cold, hard cash in the bank accounts of crypto's biggest names. Because 2025 was, well, a wild ride. The market volatility, which was definitely fueled by all that political uncertainty we just talked about, created some really dramatic winners and some even more dramatic losers. And I mean, look at this divide. It's just staggering. On one side, you've got Michael Saylor, whose net worth reportedly dropped by an insane $2.6 billion. But then, over on the other side, you have Jeremy Allaire, who actually saw his net worth go up. So what in the world explains these completely opposite fortunes? Well, for the losers, it was basically a perfect storm. The market was already in a slump, and then bam, a sudden, super steep price drop, what they call a flash crash, hit in October. It just hammered their crypto-heavy portfolios. And it wasn't just Michael Saylor. You had the former CEO of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, and the Winklevoss twins also watching their fortunes take a massive hit. But hey, remember Jeremy Allaire? His company, Circle, is behind a major stablecoin, which is a kind of crypto that's designed to stay pegged to a real-world currency, like a digital dollar. And his success ties directly back to what we were just talking about. The passage of laws that were friendly to stablecoins, like that Gens Act, gave his business regulatory clarity, it boosted confidence, and it absolutely helped his bottom line. It's really the perfect case study of a political win turning into a huge financial win. So, all this political drama and billionaire whiplash brings us to our final battleground, the future of the market itself. With all this as the backdrop, where do the experts think we're actually headed in 2026? Well, you probably won't be surprised to hear they're completely split. On one side, you've got the bulls. They're seeing strong demand from big institutions. They like the bigger economic picture, and they're throwing out Bitcoin price targets anywhere from the mid-100,000s all the way up to 170K or even higher. But then you have the bears. They're looking at the same world and seeing a totally different story. They think 2026 could be a red year, with prices dropping as negative sentiment takes over, especially if the tech behind crypto payments doesn't get better, and fast.
And what's so fascinating here is that both the bulls and the bears are looking at the exact same set of factors. The entire future of crypto in 2026 really boils down to three huge questions. 1, will big money, the big institutions, keep flowing in? 2, will governments finally give us clear, sensible rules? And 3, Can the technology itself improve fast enough to keep up with all the hype? The answers to those questions will decide who's right. So, we've looked at the political fights, the billionaire roller coaster, and these clashing forecasts. What's the big takeaway? What should we really be watching for as we head into 2026? It really all comes down to these three forces, all pushing and pulling against each other at the same time. You've got that massive political lobbying pressure happening in DC. You've got the market's natural, sometimes brutal volatility that creates winners and losers in the blink of an eye. And you've got this fundamental disagreement between the bulls and the bears about what comes next. And the key thing to remember is that none of these things exist in a vacuum. They're all connected. And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. As we get closer to 2026, which of these forces do you think is going to have the upper hand? Will the political winds clear the path for a massive bull run? Or will the harsh realities of the market and the slow pace of technology be too much to overcome? The answer is going to define not just the next year, but probably the next decade for crypto. Thanks for tuning in.